This is the Mountaineer Moment, your source for all things West Virginia football and basketball. From pregame to postgame coverage and breaking news, we've got you covered. Let's go. Welcome to another episode of Mountaineer Moment, episode number 36, as the countdown to kickoff for the Mountaineers matchup with the BYU Cougars on the road Friday night. Friday night, not Saturday afternoon, not Saturday night, but Friday night, 10:30 Eastern against BYU, and we're going to officially begin our coverage here on Mountaineer Moment as we count down to that kickoff on Friday night with a few different episodes. This one, episode number 36, will be something we've done every week, over or under, just a few different lines that we came up with here for the matchup, some things to keep an eye on. But there'll be more coming as far as, a game preview specifically, some storylines to watch for as we count down to kickoff. So if you're on YouTube, please consider hitting that subscribe button. A growing channel, and super appreciative of all the support and viewers that we've been gaining, and comment sections just blowing up a little bit. Really fun to see for a new podcast. Again, already 36 episodes in, but not stopping anytime soon. So again, this is Mountaineer Moment, available, like I said, on YouTube. And if you want to listen to it, you can find it on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Amazon Music. So wherever you are listening or watching, please subscribe. It helps me, and it helps you too, so you can be in the know when we have new content coming your way. But again, as we launch into BYU and our thoughts on the matchup and all of that fun stuff, we're going to start the week with, again, a fun episode of just three different over or unders to look for in this matchup. And then again, still to come this week will be some storylines to watch for and an official game preview as well. So be on the lookout for that one coming up after this episode. And then post-game, you, of course, can look forward to my thoughts on the game, in 2 or 3 different episodes, breaking down the game like we've done every week so far this season. So Mountaineers have a matchup with the 23rd ranked in the AP poll BYU Cougars, who are unbeaten, 4-0, 1-0 in conference, with their one win coming last Saturday against Colorado in a close game, but BYU does prevail in that one. And again, 23rd in the AP poll. They won last week by a score of 24-21 on the road after getting down 14-3 in the first quarter. Was able to come from behind and pick up a win against Colorado, who falls to 2-3 and 0-2 in conference play, just like the Mountaineers are. All right, so here we go. Over or under, and the first one's a fun one because, man, we don't know who's starting at quarterback, but we're going to put an over-under here on Khalil Wilkins and how many rushing yards he's going to pick up against BYU. So we're setting the line at 49.5. Saying it even sounds a little steep because we don't even know if the kid's going to play. But we're going to set the line at 49.5, and I'll give you some of the latest news there. So Nico Markiel officially ruled out for several weeks, now seeing a foot specialist in his home state of Arizona. Not a ton of detail as to what's going on there. You feel for Nico and, hope that he gets back and, better and with the team again. Whether or not he starts, when he does get back to health, we will find out. But he's not available against BYU. And Jalen Henderson got the start in, Nico's absence against Utah, and we know the story there. Things didn't go well. But like we've said, even when Nico's gotten the start, and it's repetitive here on Mountaineer Moment because there are games that are repeating themselves before our very eyes. Kansas and Utah were both very similar games. You get blown out, you give up 40+. You're outscored by a margin, I think, of what was it? Let me see here. Yeah, 89-24. Mountaineers opponents are beating them by a score of 89-24 over the last 2 weeks with Kansas and Utah. So, Khalil Wilkins, is it his time? Jalen Henderson, we've seen him a little bit this season. We finally saw him get a start against a Utah team that was pissed off coming off a home loss to Texas Tech and couldn't get it done. Was it just the quarterback's fault? Absolutely not. But he didn't play well. No one played well, but Jalen Henderson didn't play well. And so in comes Khalil Wilkins when the game was already out of hand, and he brought a spark to, a team that had already lost the game. So do with these numbers what you will. But Wilkins might have been the only bright spot for the Mountaineers, especially on offense in this one. He had a 39-yard touchdown pass to Cam Vaughn, who made a great play on the ball and then ran it in for the score. Wilkins had carried the ball 9 times for 39 yards last week. So again, setting the line at 49.5 this week. He had 39 last week, and he didn't even start the game, didn't play until the second half, and didn't finish the game either with, Max Brown getting some time, just real late down the stretch, and Scotty Fox even getting into the game again real late. Wilkins played most of that second half, obviously, but the line at 49.5 is obviously dependent upon whether or not you think Khalil Wilkins can and should and will start at quarterback. Will he be the guy? Is it his opportunity? We have, after the Utah game, we released an episode here on Mountaineer Moment stating the case for Khalil Wilkins to get the start. So if you haven't checked out that episode, it's just a couple episodes back, I believe episode number 34. You should definitely go check that one out as I give my thoughts on the quarterback situation. And really, you can summarize it in 2 words, and it's why not? Why not Khalil Wilkins at this point? And in that episode, I said, you know what? If there's any chance in Rich Rod's mind that Khalil Wilkins could start week 1 next season, why not start him now? With the veterans you have on this team, you're getting blown out already. What's the worst that could happen? The best that could happen is we find ourselves a future star, right? Worst that can happen is you keep losing, which you already are. So that's my little the tangent I went on in that episode again a couple episodes back. So if you haven't watched that, go check it out. It's a short episode, I think 13 minutes or so. But anyway, the line is set at 49.5, and just for fun, I'm going to go over here because I think I really am in the camp that says, you know what, let's start Khalil Wilkins, redshirt freshman, on the road on a Friday night in Provo against a ranked opponent. Let's just see what he can do. And he showed me some things with his arm. His first passing attempts in a Mountaineer uniform did some things. With his legs, his shiftiness, his ability to get outside the pocket, even make some things happen that way. So I'm going to take the over because I think if he does start, man, let him run, let him loose. And hopefully he has Ty Edwards joining him in the backfield to take some pressure off of him, in that rushing attack. But we shall see what happens. Take the over. Khalil Wilkins, we'll see if he starts. Man, oh man, the ever-evolving, ever-changing quarterback situation. We've said it every week just about here on Mountaineer Moment, but it's changing yet again, and we'll see if Khalil Wilkins is the third Mountaineer to start at quarterback here in Game 6 against BYU. Second over or under has to do with a BYU player, running back L.J. Martin. We're setting his line for rushing yards at 99.5, and I'm about to tell you why it is set right there. So through 4 games for the Cougars, L.J. Martin is averaging exactly 100 rushing yards. So you see why the line is at 99.5. So through 4 games, he's averaging exactly 100 rushing yards. He's 400 yards on the season. Interestingly enough, he has 55 carries on the season, just one of those resulting in a touchdown. So he's being very productive, but has only punched it into the end zone on the ground just one time. He's a junior, been at BYU. This is his 3rd season there. And obviously, he's a key reason for their success in the early going here with their 4-0 start and ranked 23rd in the country. His matchup against Colorado, again, they've only played one Big 12 game thus far. And in that matchup, he went for 58 yards on 15 carries, and that was his first time not reaching that 100-yard mark on the ground. Now, in our last episode, right? I can point you to that one as well. We broke down this West Virginia defense and what has gone wrong as they've started conference play. And if you want my thoughts on that, you can go and check that episode out as well. But in Big 12 play, West Virginia's run defense has not been what it was in the non-conference. In the non-conference, West Virginia was ranked 12th in the nation in opponent rushing yards per attempt given up, and that has not been the case over the 2 weeks here in conference play. Given up 242 yards over each of the 2 games against Kansas and Utah. But with that said, I would say take the under here for LJ Martin. I think I have a little bit, even with their struggles as of late, I have a little bit more faith in the West Virginia defense, to fix things. Kansas, obviously, and Williams had a 100-yard rusher in that game. And Utah did not. They got their 242 yards by committee, with 2 of their running backs going for over 60. And, BYU's got a capable runner at quarterback as well, who is expected to take some of that load. So if Colorado, who obviously is struggling as the Mountaineers are, was able to hold this talented BYU running back in LJ Martin to 58 yards, his season low, I think the Mountaineers can do it too, and here's hoping. So take the under here for LJ Martin to get under 100 yards. And then lastly, kind of an interesting one to keep an eye on that will be certainly one that could be indicative of the Mountaineers' success through the air. So, and I'm going to give you the reason for this line, but we're going to say 8.5, over or under 8.5 West Virginia pass catchers. So against Utah, I get it. Game to forget. We really need to move on from that one. This will be the last thing I'll say about that game in this episode. But West Virginia caught just 6 passes between Jalen Henderson and Khalil Wilkins. 3 different wide receivers caught passes. Cam Vaughn, again, that 39-yard touchdown and 3 catches for him. And again, without Markiel, we know he's not playing. Do we know if it's going to be Scotty Fox or Max Brown or Jalen Henderson or Khalil Wilkins starting at quarterback? No, we do not. We really don't know. But it could be Khalil. Or it could be Jalen again. Either way, those 2 guys that threw passes last week didn't find a whole lot of targets, didn't find a whole lot of success through the air. Now, with that said, I think we are going to see a Mountaineer team, regardless of who's at quarterback, especially if you get Ty Edwards back, that is going to look to run the football. You're on the road. So if you play Khalil Wilkins, you're playing an inexperienced quarterback who hadn't thrown a collegiate pass until last week. So you're going to look to run, and so that could play a factor in this one. But the line is at 8.5, less based on what the Mountaineers just did against Utah and more based on what they did in that poor showing against Kansas. West Virginia had 9 different players catch a pass. Again, whether it be a running back, a receiver, a tight end, had 9 different pass catchers, although the leading yard getter was just 26 yards. I believe it was Sincere Bowers. And 8.5 pass catchers, right? I mean, if it's Wilkins, or Jalen, any of these guys, honestly, for that matter, any of these guys, you're going to look to hopefully get some easy completions, swinging out of the backfield or on quick outs, that kind of thing. But I would take the under of 8.5. I do think, especially if Ty Edwards plays, and if you start Wilkins, I mean, you're really going to look to run. You're going to take your opportunities to throw it when you can, but 8.5 different pass catchers seems like a pretty steep thing at this point. Again, they went over against Kansas, but it wasn't over for a whole lot of yards either. And then obviously the pretty bad showing against Utah last week. So take the under as far as pass catchers are concerned. If you go over, I mean, that's could be, obviously not always, again, with Kansas, but it could be an indication of of something that you're doing offensively that hopefully is working. So we'll see. But keep an eye on just how many guys get involved in the passing attack for the Mountaineers. We know there's been significant injuries in that backfield and the guys that are out wide, but you got to find a way, next man up mentality. And if you're playing this redshirt freshman at quarterback, again, I don't know who they're going to start. I mean, I don't know. And I don't know. I mean, it might not even matter who they start because we might see 3 or 4 different quarterbacks. It's just been that kind of season. And whoever it is, Cam Vaughn and these guys, I mean, Ronnie Gallagher, you got to find a way to get open for these guys. So keep an eye on that. Keep an eye on how many rushing yards LJ Martin gets and this BYU offense gets. Again, West Virginia's given up 242 yards on the ground each of the last 2 games. And then if Khalil Wilkins start, let's see what he can do with his legs. So Mountaineers and BYU Friday night, again, 10:30 Eastern. Do whatever you need to do to get ready for that one, whether it's a nap at work, call it a half day, come home and drink a Red Bull. I don't know. But they're playing the number 23 team in the country on the road. An opportunity to get in the win column in the Big 12 Conference and save some face, man. We've been embarrassed the last 2 weeks. You got to do something to turn this thing around. And we'll see if the Mountaineers can do it on a bit of a short week. Again, Friday night, 10:30. Be sure to continue checking up on Mountaineer Moment because we have more episodes coming your way this week with the countdown to kickoff for Mountaineers and BYU. We will see you next time on Mountaineer Moment.